Coming to get you, Barbara.
Ever played Skin Attack?
Someone's in the back seat! Tell me where you are, John!
Wolfman's got Nards!
Hi guys, welcome to a live stream on a Wednesday night. I know I'm still getting the hang of this one, getting used to it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for some people to come in, if anyone does come in. Again, Wednesday night for me might not be ideal for everyone else. It's 11 p.m. UK time, and for you guys, I'm guessing it's maybe, what time would it be? Maybe 3 p.m. in the West, 5 p.m. mid, 7 p.m. possibly, Florida. No, 6 p.m. in Florida, I think. Something like that anyway. So I'll wait for some of you guys to come in if you're looking to have a little chat. I'm just going to do some channel updates and movie updates, movie news, just kind of bits and bobs. Give me 2 seconds, guys. We've got Jean. Hello, Barry. How are you doing, Jean? Oh, how are you doing today? Yes, I'm doing very well. Again, it's a Wednesday night for me, 11 p.m, Jean. So just trying to get as late as I can with these live streams. I know that it's hard for you guys in the US, Canada and stuff to get the live stream or make a live stream in the afternoon. I know a lot of you are possibly at work, maybe having your dinner or your tea, your supper. So coming to a live stream at this time, I know it's quite difficult. So thanks to anyone that actually does come in and has a little chat. So on the topic of discussion today, I'll go through this a few times anyway, guys. So topics of discussion. I've got 5 movie pieces that I'm kind of going to go through today. And that is, one of them is, I watched a movie called Lowlifes. One of my friends, Jason, Sinister Cinema Reviews, he told me to check out this movie, Lowlifes. It's a Tubi exclusive, and I checked it out. So I'll kind of talk about that. I'm not going to spoil anything because it's there's a lot in it that could be spoiled. So I don't really want to spoil that at all. So for those of you who have not seen it and are interested in it, don't worry. I won't be spoiling it for you. Hopefully nobody else spoils it either. Can't really go through a live stream without talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. I know that it's not horror related, but I think everyone's talking about Deadpool and Wolverine just now, so I'll probably give you my thoughts throughout this live stream. Talk about Abigail, not the movie, because I already have done a movie review for Abigail, but let's talk about the box office for Abigail as well as just box office in general, because anytime I go online and I let people know about box office figures, I don't think they quite understand how box office works. So I'm going to talk about box office today for those of you who maybe just don't know how the box office works, or think you know, but are looking for a bit more information. So I'm more than happy to help out with some box office figures and how the box office works. And that's that. I've not done a movie review for this, Immaculate, but I'll kind of touch on that today. And again, because it's still semi-new, I won't be giving out any spoilers. So maybe just give a quick discussion on that. As well as Late Night with the Devil. Again, we won't be spoiling anything here because they're all fairly new movies. But I kind of want to talk about that as well because it was an interesting watch and maybe some of you guys have seen it and just want to talk about it. Apologies, I had to mute you there. 2 seconds. Always get a bit of a cough when I'm coming onto a live stream. Maybe it's nerves. You never know. Oh, it's 6 p.m. where you are, Jean. That's not too bad. This is Tom's World is here. Hey there, my friend. How are you, Tom? Tom, I don't think I've ever seen you in the chat before. So welcome. And if it's not your first time, then welcome back. Not JPEGs here, as ever. Nice to see you again. You're saying Barry in chat. How's it going? Again, I've just started, so hopefully some people trickle in. And no, I've not seen Shogun. I've heard good things about it though. It's with the guy, I can't remember his name, and even if I knew his name, I'd probably butcher his name anyway. It's the guy from Mortal Kombat and Avengers Endgame. God, I really can't remember his name. I can't remember his name. This is Tom's World said, I've never caught your live feed before, but I have been a subscriber for quite some time. So yeah, welcome to the live stream. Again, I've not done that many live streams before, to be honest. Tom, if that's your name, Tom. Don't do live streams that often. That's why it's kind of blank in here. And it's Wednesday afternoon for a lot of people, or a lot of my subscribers. And some subscribers just don't really know that I do live streams, and I don't generally do live streams, but I'm trying to start it back up again because I used to do live streams in the past. So I'm trying to build up my live stream audience again because I just haven't done them for a long time. I don't know if you can hear the planes passing. I'm downstairs in my dining area. Who else have we got? Oh, Vanderhoff's here. Welcome, Vanderhoff. Hello, Barry. Barry is my middle name. Apologies, Vanderhoff. I know you might mention it, but this is a Yankee cap. I know you don't like it when I wear this, but it's nice looking. Again, we don't wear Yankee stuff because we like the Yankees. We just wear it because we like the caps. And Tom is your name? I thought it would be. Tom says, I do live feeds weekly. Well, I try to get them in weekly. Yeah, I mean, I think my live streams, whenever I do a live stream, they tend to do a little bit better at the weekends. But I have got some free time at this moment in time on a Thursday morning. So Wednesday nights, I don't have to go to bed too early. No work in the morning. So I'm trying to get some late night Wednesdays done. I mentioned this quite a bit, but I've got 3 levels in my house. So the middle floor is where my studio is. Kids are sleeping at this time, so I can't really do anything in the studio. That's why I'm here with this plain backdrop. I don't tend to like, but it's the only place I can actually do it at the moment. So apologies. Not JPEG. What is it with you and all these either or questions? But Punisher 89, 2004, or 2008? Do you mean Punisher Warzone? Is that the Warzone's 2008? I actually really like that one with Ray Stevenson. And obviously I like the Tom Jane one from 2004. But there's something about the 2008 one. I'm moving a bit. There's something about the 2008, if it's Warzone you're talking about, that I really like. It's very comic book. I think the bad guy was Jigsaw. Was it Jigsaw? No. What's his name again? Something like Jigsaw or something like that. The Puzzle Man. He was played by the guy who was in the Green Mile and X-Files, Eugene Victor Toombs. So that was a really good one. Oh no, Yankees. Are you a Mets fan? Again, I know nothing about baseball. I've never watched a baseball game in my entire life. It looks boring, but I'm sure it's really fun. We have something in the UK called Rounders. Don't know if you've ever heard of Rounders, but it's similar to baseball, but it's not a sport here. It's just played for fun. We used to play it at school, but yeah, that's the closest we get to baseball. It's very American. Not JPEG says, any info about the RoboCop Returns movie? I had absolutely no idea there was another RoboCop coming out, so that's news to me. So sounds like you've got more information than me, unfortunately. This is Tom's World says the backdrop is cool. No worries. Yeah, it's nice for a living area and a dining room, but when I'm doing my movie stuff, I'd like to have some sort of studio-looking thing, if not a movie-related thing, but it'll make do just now. And you're right, the audio and content matter more than the background. and you are on point, my brother. Thanks very much. And that's why I've changed my backdrop numerous times, trying to see what works best for me. And the backdrop I use upstairs in the studio, I think that works best for me because I like it to be plain and simple. I did have a backdrop before where it was all Blu-rays and stuff, and I think it's nice to look at Blu-rays. But if you're looking at if you're the audience and you're looking at the Blu-rays, you're not really paying attention to what I'm saying. So, and I wanted to keep it cleaner, and I did some work in a studio with my friend Callum, and I loved the look of the studio that he was in, and I just thought I wanted to look a little bit more professional like that. So I decided to scrap all the stuff that I had before, get a nice little table for the side, put my microphone on a stand, and get a nice comfy seat that I can sit on with a nice plain backdrop that I might change now and again, and just have it looking a little bit more professional so that anyone watching will take me more seriously and their eyes won't venture off into all different places because they'll be listening to me, looking at me, and hopefully paying attention a little bit more than before. Again, if it works, it's great. If it doesn't, then at least it looks nice. And it's an area where I can sit and read a book if I want, and it's nice. So there we go. Not JPEG says, favorite Dario Argento film? I don't actually like Dario Argento stuff, to be honest. I'm really sorry, but Italian horror, it's not for me. I know it's like its own subgenre, but it's not something that I actually watch, to be honest. So I couldn't tell you what's good and what's not because I don't like any of it, to be honest, which is quite sad. I'm really sorry. Oh, I've got our first super chat, and it's from Frank Riker. Ooh, Frank, let me just get this up. What is it? That's it. Frank says, "Is English your second language?" I think it feels that way, to be honest, Frank. And I know you're just messing. There was a guy today, for those of you who didn't see it, who left me a nice little comment. I get it every now and again, and he said something along the lines of, "I can't understand what this guy's saying." And I always do a nice reply, and I say to the person, if English isn't your first language, then you can always use subtitles. Obviously, knowing that he does speak English, but he just doesn't get out much and doesn't understand that accents are a thing. And I think that person thinks their accent is the correct accent. So when they hear someone else with a different accent, I don't think they can really decipher what that person's saying because they're trying to hear that person in their accent. So when they say a word that sounds different to how that person says it, they just don't understand it. So when they pull them up for saying, "Oh, I don't understand your accent," they're trying to belittle that person, but in actual fact, they're belittling themselves because they're showing that they're uneducated. So there you go. But thanks very much, Frank, for the super chat. And English might as well be my second language. Where are we? Where are we? Not Holding Back is in the house. Not Holding Back said, "I'm going to watch a special screening for the 45th anniversary of Dawn of the Dead next month. Where would you rank it in your top zombie films of all time?" Were you not in my chat when we done our top zombie films of all time? No Holding Back? I'm sure you left comments in that specific video. Maybe you did. Maybe you didn't. I don't know. But yeah, the original Dawn of the Dead is my third favorite zombie film of all time. There you go. This is Tom's World says, "Being at a basketball game is more exciting than watching one on TV." Yeah, I guess that's true as well because I know that a lot of people don't like football. Where I'm from, we love football, which is soccer, where you guys are from. And I know that some people just don't like watching it on TV, but when you're there and you feel the atmosphere, you listen to the crowd, you get a little bit more into it than maybe you would on TV. I love it both. I love it in the actual stadium and I love it on TV as well. But yeah, I get that. Maybe I would like it in real life. Jean's a fan of the Mets as well. I guess the Mets are a popular team. Yeah, Van Hoff said New York Mets or New York Yankees here in my area. So I guess it's like a divide there because we've got Glasgow Rangers and Glasgow Celtic for soccer. So in Glasgow, we're a divided city. You get cities like Aberdeen that only have one team that everyone supports, which is Aberdeen. But if you're from Glasgow, you usually support Rangers or Celtic. There are other teams in Glasgow, but they're not as big. You've got Queen's Park, Partick Thistle, but the big ones are Rangers and Celtic. So I'm Rangers. I think we always talk about sport a little bit on the live chats, which I love to do because I love sport. Van der Hoff said, I'm watching Late Night with the Devil twice so far. Yeah, but I've only seen it once, but I did have to watch. I watched the ending about 4 or 5 times because I done a previous video called Late Night with the Devil Ending Explained, just trying to explain how I perceived the ending of the movie. But don't worry, if anyone's not seen it, I'm not going to be spoiling it. The video just was me talking about how I interpreted the ending of the movie because it had a sort of ambiguous ending, an ending that you, as the viewer, can decide what you think happened. And I just gave my opinion on the video, and it's done pretty well. It's got over 20,000 views in the space of 3 days, which is really good. And I've got some other ending explains planned as well, like Immaculate. And that, again, I won't be spoiling because it's got a semi-ambiguous ending as well. What's up, Gory Tiger? Welcome to the chat. Baseball is fun. Again, I loved playing Rounders, which is a non-sport version of baseball. Not JPEG says, who remembers The Cell with Jennifer Lopez? I remember it, but I've not seen it. It's from 2000. Never seen it in my life. This is Tom's World says, my background is just a wall with a little wood piece a relative made for me with my channel name and logo on it. Simple as that. I'd love to have a play button one day, and the play button would be the thing that's like front and center on my little table. But who knows? My channel subscribers shot right up at one point, and it's still going up, but it's really slow again. So I was hoping that maybe by the end of this year I would have 100,000 subscribers, but it's not looking that way anymore, unfortunately. But it's still going up, slowly but surely. Again, that's not the main goal. The main goal is to interact with people, and that's what I prefer to do anyway. Van der Hoff said, I love sports as much as horror. New York Mets, New York Rangers, and the Denver Broncos. I never miss any games. I guess you're a fan of most sports then. I know that Mets are baseball. New York Rangers are obviously ice hockey because I like ice hockey. Denver Broncos, I guess that's American football, I guess. I know the name Denver Broncos, but I can't remember what sport that is. Dream Villains here. Hey Barry, how are you doing? I just watched Late Night with the Devil. Thought it was pretty decent. Yeah, let me just get a picture of it up again. There we go. So yeah, Late Night with the Devil. I think it was a surprising film because what was I going to say? You get films that people rave about, like, oh my God, best film ever, greatest horror film of the last 20 years, and all those types of comments. And I'm like, oh no, this means it's going to be bad. I just know it's going to be bad. And I watched it and I was not blown away. I was pleasantly surprised. I thought, wow, that's actually a really decent movie. And I really liked the ending of the film. I know that a lot of people didn't like the end of Late Night with the Devil. I think that's the weakest part for a lot of people. But for me, it stays strong right to the very end because it was a bit of an ambiguous ending to it. So I enjoyed it thoroughly. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. Even with all the positive comments, I still enjoyed it more than I thought I would because we tend to overhype things these days online, and I still think it was kind of overhyped, but it was not the greatest horror film of all time. But it's certainly a really good one, especially for this year. It's been a good year, not an amazing year, but a good year for horror so far. Solvents, hi from Glasgow, Barry. Glad to catch you live. Well, Solvents, you are in the same area as me. I'm in Glasgow as well. So it's good to see someone not only just from Scotland, but from Glasgow. We're literally a stone throw away from each other. Glasgow is not a big place. Coughing. Glasgow's not a big place for those of you who don't know Glasgow, but we have 1 million people in Glasgow. So it's huge in comparison for the size. Boy Kills World, interested in it? I am interested in it. However, I'm a little bit disappointed in the choice of the change of the voice in Bill Skarsgård's character. For those of you who don't know, it's about a guy who doesn't speak or talk, and he uses an inner monologue for a voice that he heard on a Mortal Kombat game when he was younger. So as an adult, we hear his inner voice, and there was a trailer for it last year that had a really good voice, like a really good Mortal Kombat voice. But now that the movie's getting a nationwide release and a domestic release in the US, they've changed the voice. They've changed it to somebody else, and it just doesn't sound right. But it does look good. I'm looking forward to it. Darren's in the house. Darren says, 28 years later, Aaron Taylor Johnson. Is that true? Is that confirmed, Darren? I can't even copy your text unless I can do it on the... Yeah, I can click on it on the website. Let's see. So it's definitely happening. Now, I think the big issue... Oh. Oh, aye. So, yeah, I think the big issue is just not having Cillian Murphy. I mean, he didn't die in the film. So I don't see why they can't just... I know he's an Oscar winner now. Why would they want to do a film like 28 Days Later sequel? But if you get the right people involved, get Danny Boyle involved. Danny Boyle is a top-notch director. So I think Cillian Murphy would be happy to work with him again. But thoughts on the casting? If it's true, then it's great casting. I like all three of these actors. Jodie Comer, I liked her in Free Guy. Aaron Taylor Johnson, of course, I love him in Kick-Ass. And Ralph Fiennes, he's a fine actor. So if those three are going to be in it, then I'll definitely be watching. Maybe, just maybe, we'll see a little cameo from Cillian Murphy. That would be good, but time will tell. Looking forward to it, though, 28 years later. This is Tom's World says, I actually got to know a guy that worked on some of George Romero's movies, Barry Anderson. Is it Barry Anderson was the person? I thought you meant Barry Anderson was the name of the movie. He's got a nice name. But did he give you any secrets? Frank Riker says, go Manchester. Don't say that when you get there, though, because just like Manchester, Frank, there is Manchester United and Manchester City. So when you go to places like Manchester and Glasgow, if someone asks you what team you support, you don't answer. You just say, I don't like soccer, I don't like football, and it all is well. Don't choose one because you'll always get the wrong one. When I'm in Glasgow, somebody says to me, Rangers or Celtic, I say, Partick Thistle, and then they just leave you alone. Not J-Beg asked, do you find Nick Cage's Renfield to be fun? Yeah, I thought that was really fun. More fun. I think I had more fun with that than a lot of other people did. I thought Nicolas Cage was hilarious in that film. Didn't get enough recognition. I thought it was really good. Jean says, yes, go Rangers. Yes, we all like Rangers. Doesn't matter what sport it is. We love it. Tracy Reid says, just back from seeing Abigail. Loved it. I thought Late Night with the Devil. Thought it was okay. That's good. I'm assuming then, Tracy, that you preferred Abigail over Late Night with the Devil. And I think nobody's wrong when you say these things, because both of them are really good films. That's another thing I'll click on. Abigail. Boom, boom. There we go. Abigail, that's what I want to talk about today. I'm not going to actually talk about Abigail itself because I don't want to spoil anything. But I'll talk a bit about the box office for Abigail. Let me just get the box office figures up You won't see it. I'm just going to read it out to you. And you just need to trust me. So I have this, it's not an argument, but I have this back and forward with a lot of people online about box office numbers, and it really does my head in. So I'll talk about it first, and then I'll come into the chat, guys. So stick with me. It'll just be a couple of minutes, I promise. So when it comes to box office, Abigail cost $28 million. Okay. And so far, it's made $17 million. That's worldwide. We're talking worldwide here. 12 million domestic, 5 million international. So $17 million so far. Some people think that a movie needs to make, in Abigail's example, they think you need to make $28 million and you're broke even. It's not the case. Some people think, well, okay, marketing for Abigail probably would have cost maybe $2-3 million. Not the case at all. Absolutely not. Now, Abigail is a Universal movie, so they spend a lot of money on marketing. Sometimes marketing costs just as much as the movie. That's usually the case with big box office films. Big blockbuster films. But sometimes, just sometimes, they spend a little bit more or a little bit less on films. But on a lot of occasions, studios, especially Universal, will spend a lot more money on marketing than they do the film. So if you take Smile, for example, Smile cost $17 million and they spent $50 million on marketing for Smile. So you're not looking at just the film's production cost. So you don't have to, if you make $17 million on Smile, you don't get all your money back. That's not how it works. You have to add on the 17 million to the 50 million marketing. That's 60, I'm trying to count now. That's $67 million that film cost to make. Now, studios don't get all the money from the cinemas. That's not how it works. There's other costs involved, obviously, with the cinema chains, etc. Around the world, some take 80%, some take 20%, 30%, 40%, 60%, all different numbers, all different percentages. So what box office people do is they take an average on how much you would normally have to make. And the easiest way to do it, and the simplest way it is 50%. So around the world, we assume that studios get 50% of whatever the film makes at the box office. So you're looking at a $17 million movie like Smile now having to make over $130 million, 134 to be exact, $134 million Smile had to make its money back. Now, it made over 200 million, so it's made a profit. But sometimes films, or a lot of the time, films don't make their money back. That's normal in Hollywood. Films don't always make a profit. And even if it doesn't make a profit, the studios don't panic, because after the movie's out of the cinema, of course, it goes on to streaming, they sell products, they sell merchandise, toys, you name it. All that money goes to, not all of it, but a lot of it goes towards the studio until eventually they will make a profit. But when you look at box office figures alone, that will tell you what's a box office flop or not. So when you say something's a flop, specifically, you have to mention box office flop, because it might flop at the box office, but make a lot of money on Blu-ray, 4K, whatever. So that's how the box office works. So when you look at a movie like Abigail, which is also a Universal movie, it cost $28 million to make. That's a lot of money. And I can only imagine the marketing probably would have cost in the region between $20 and $30 million. It's not cheap. So that film now has went from $28 million, including the marketing, you're going up to maybe $50, $60 million that movie cost to make. And if it cost between $50 and $60 million, including marketing, it now needs to make between $100 and $120 million at the box office to not be considered a box office flop. Now, if the movie's only made $17 million in the first week, or the first weekend in a couple of days, the chances of that making between $100 and $120 million is very slim. So this is going to be considered a box office flop. So when I try and explain that to people online, they just say, no, you do the 2.5 calculations. I'm like, what do you mean the 2.5? And then they show me like a screenshot of a website that says, yes, a film needs to make 2.5 times its budget. I'm like, okay, calculate it for me. And then they don't do a calculation. They just tell me, oh, that's true. And then I say, right, okay, Halloween 2018. That cost $10 million. How much does that need to make its money back? And then they say to me, well, if you do the 2.5, it needs to make $25 million to make its money back. So that's a huge success. And I'm like, that's not the case, because Halloween, yes, it was a huge success, but the movie cost $10 million to make. Marketing for Halloween 2018 was a whopping $75 million. Yep, $75 million. That's confirmed by somebody I know at Universal. So that then goes up to $85 million cost. So now the movie needs to make $170 million if you double it. It needs to make $170 million at the worldwide box office. Luckily, it made a lot more than that. So it's a success, but it's not the big success that you think it is. It didn't just cost $10 million. It cost $85 million to market and make the movie. So I've went away off on a tangent there, guys, but that is how box office works. And there you go. So let me go back into the chat. If you want to talk about box office again, I'm your man. I love box office. Davey's here. Hey, hey, Barry. Hey, hey, Davey. And he's just saying hello to everyone. Lovely, lovely. And yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson has some pretty damn weak chops. What? Kick-Ass is the only movie I've seen him do well in. Godzilla and Age of Ultron were rough. Are you thinking about the right person, Davey? Aaron Taylor Johnson is a brilliant actor. But what do I know? I'm just a doctor. Davey. AMP says, no, you don't. Oh. Hun means honey. How you doing, honey? Not JPEG says, should there be a horror version of Galaxy Quest? Don't know. AMP is a Celtic fan, I guess. A fan? Celtic fan? Frank Riker, I'd probably get along with hooligans. Maybe not Manchester hooligans, though, Frank. They are rough. I'm only joking. Maybe they're fine. AMP said, Melissa Barrera will never be a Scream Queen. 11 million is shocking, Baza. So I think, although she's the main character in Abigail, it's more of an ensemble cast. I think everyone is equally as important as each other. I think just Melissa Barrera was the main character. And I wouldn't even consider the main character. Obviously, certain things happen, which I won't spoil. And then the ending would maybe make you think that she was one of the main characters. But that was maybe the wrong decision that they made. I think everyone pulled their weight, even more so than Melissa Barrera. I think Melissa Barrera was the weakest in the film, unfortunately. I don't think she fit in the film. I said this in my review, but she was good, but it was more of a horror comedy, and everybody brought a bit of comic relief to the film apart from Melissa Barrera. She was too serious, and I know you need a serious character in the movie. I get that, but I was having fun with every character apart from hers. Anytime it went to her and her alone with maybe Abigail, I was slightly bored, and she was quite wooden at times. She was definitely the weakest actress and the weakest actor out of the whole bunch, but that doesn't mean she's bad. It just means everybody else was really good. So she was the weakest for me. I don't think she's a leading actress. I think she would be better as part of an ensemble cast, which is what this was, but it made her look like the main character, and I think that was the wrong decision. Kevin, I'm glad you wrote pronounced Kevin, because I can never say these. Barry, did you touch on 28 years later casting? Pretty dang good, if you ask me. Yeah, Darren just posted the link to it. So it's pretty exciting that Aaron Taylor Johnson has been added to the cast. I know that Jodie Comer and Ralph Fiennes were already semi-confirmed for the movie, but I don't think that was ever confirmed, but I'm glad it is now. Kevin, are you Irish or Scottish? My kids speak Gaelic, and obviously that looks like a Gaelic pronunciation or a Gaelic spelling, sorry, for Kevin, but I don't know if that's Irish or Scottish. Might be Irish. Irish Gaelic. Darren says, don't forget to take tax off that 50%, Barry. Yeah. So do you mean like, let's say a film makes 100 million, the studio get 50% of that? Yeah, that's right. So the studio will get, say, 50% of that, and then they'll need to pay the tax. But I think I'm including, I don't think, I'm including that tax as well. So studios take the 50%, but they'll probably take, say, 65, 70%. I don't know. Whatever they get, when you all calculate it all up together, then it's 50% of the budget that they get, including all the tax, blah, 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 blah. And if it's not, then they get even less. But I hope I explained that right, or as best as I could. It's better than just going, yes, a film needs to make 2.5 times its budget. And I'm not telling you why. I'm just telling you that's the case because Google told me. Warrior says Abigail is going to lose a shed load. Melissa who? Melissa Barrera. So again, I'm not a Melissa Barrera hater. So for anyone watching who loves her or hates her, I'm not saying she was bad, and I'm not saying that she was wooden because I hate Melissa Barrera. Blah blah blah. I don't. I like Melissa Barrera. I'm just thinking I'm only judging based on the acting and not on what's happening on the outside. Frank says, except for Disney's John Carter. Are you talking about because of the box office flop? Because I think that was the biggest flop at some point. I think that cost about $235 million or something. Let's double check that. John Carter. I'm sure it made. I'm sure it cost like 235, and it just made under that. John Carter. The budget was $263 million, and it made $282 million at the box office. So people might be thinking, oh, yes, it made its budget back. It made a good little profit of like $19 million. Absolutely not. They didn't see anywhere near that $282 million. But it did make $41 million at the DVD and Blu-ray sales. But again, that's not enough. So that's a bomb overall. It doesn't matter what happens after that, whether it makes money at streaming toys, it's never making its money back. JPEG says, including streaming, physical media, and digital download. So yeah, all of that's included after you talk about your box office bombs. David said, I think Abigail would have fared better if it were about 10 to 15 minutes shorter and if it cut to the chase quicker in that first act. See, I agree. I think because we already know the main point of Abigail, then it didn't need to take 45 minutes to get to the point where the characters were just finding out what she was. You have to do one or the other. Either you give us it straight away because we know, or you don't give us it in the trailer and then we find out 45 minutes into the movie. If we didn't know who Abigail was, and if we're finding out who she is at the same time as the characters, I think the movie would be fantastic. But because we already knew, then there was no need to wait that long. I didn't mind waiting, but I wanted a bigger payoff after it. But we didn't get that. All we got was a longer version of the trailer as the movie. Not JPEG says, Frozen Empire made a box office of 176 million on a budget of 100 million. So that is a box office flop, unfortunately. A massive flop, that is. And you know why? Because it did. I'm assuming that would have cost about $100 million to make, and then $100 million for the marketing, say. You're looking at $200 million. So it needs to make $400 million to break even. Ain't never happening. Warrior said DVD sales are pretty non-existent these days unless it's a franchise, and that's true. Blu-rays and 4K are okay. DVD sales are went right down because they're hard to do DVDs anymore. And yeah, Kevin, that Halloween marketing budget is bonkers. I didn't believe it to begin with. I assumed it was $10 million for the marketing because the film cost $10 million. But I spoke to someone that obviously I can't say his name, but I spoke to someone who was my insider at the time during this whole Halloween craze, and he confirmed it with me. It was $75 million, and I was like, "What?" But yeah, I can believe it because of all the stuff that we've seen. But it still made money, still made a profit. Sarah says, "Hi, can't sleep." Haha. Well, you're in the right place because none of us are sleeping. We're either from the UK and we just can't sleep, or they're halfway around the world and it's the afternoon. David Dick says, "Hi, Barry. How you doing, David?" There's a couple of Davies in the chat. Kevin, you're Irish, but you're American. So it's an Irish name, but you're American. So that's a Gaelic spelling for Kevin. It's a nice name. It's just hard to pronounce if you don't know the Irish Gaelic, or Irish Gaelic, I should say. So you get Scottish Gaelic and Irish Gaelic. And David Dick says, "When are we going to see you on the Slaughtered Lamb or them on your channel?" Well, they're welcome anytime on my channel. I don't think I'm allowed on their channel anymore. They hate my guts. They hate me. I'm only joking. Maybe you might see myself and Darren together in an actual video instead of streaming on a different screen. Maybe you'll see us next to each other in a couple of weeks. You never know. AMP said Waterworld was one of the worst box office crashes ever, as well as, if I remember correctly, I think it still holds water. I get that joke. But yeah, I think that cost like $200 million. And I don't think it made its money back. I'm just searching for this. Waterworld. I like talking about box office. It's good. So Waterworld, yikes. So it made $264 million. You might be thinking, yay, that's great. Production budget was $175 million. That's bonkers. And that's a lot of money for back in 1995. Crazy numbers. So yeah, that was a big flop. Floppy flop. Cynthia said, "Well, I'll wait to see it on Max." Are you talking about, I'm guessing you're talking about Abigail, maybe? Frank says, "I agree with you, Barry, that we should have seen more of the character strengths and skills during the fights by setting traps and such Predator style." Yeah, so if you've seen like them running around trying to set some sort of trap for her, I know they put her in a cage in Abigail, but obviously she was just playing around because she could have got out that cage at any point. So yeah, a little bit of kind of Home Alone style would have been cool. See, David, I do have my favourites so far just now. Obviously, there's a lot more to come, but I don't tend to tell people what it is because I always do best horror films of the year at the end of the year in December once I've seen everything, or mostly everything. So I do have a favourite at this moment in time, but I don't really want to say. I don't want to give it away just now, to be honest. Sorry. But I watched one today, which I'll talk about in a little second. But it was good as well. So I think, again, I don't think I've seen a standout horror film yet. There's been a few really good ones, but no standout as to, oh, that one's never going to be beaten. I've watched a few horror films and I think that's really good, but I think there's something that might come out this year that will be better than that. So time will tell for that, but there's definitely no standout. And I think even my favourite one just now might still go down with ones I've seen already because I'm still kind of toying between a few of them. Is that one better than that one, or is the other one better than the other one? So I just don't really know at the moment. Symphony J said yes. So yeah, Abigail. So yeah, if you're waiting for Abigail to come out on Max, then do that. I think it is a good film to watch at home, and it is a good film. It's a really good film. Happy Sanjo is here. Koi, how you doing, Koi? Yo, yo, yo. And David says, I can respect your silence. I am behind on seeing some of the latest releases like Late Night, The First Omen, and Immaculate. I've still not seen The First Omen. So that's definitely not my favourite at the moment because I've not seen it. However, I'm looking forward to it. I have seen Late Night with the Devil and I have seen Immaculate. And both of them are really good. But I did watch this one. So again, guys, I'm not going to spoil this one because it's a good film. I've not seen the trailer for this. This film's called Lowlifes. I was told about this movie by Jason from Sinister Cinema Reviews, and he said, check this out, but don't watch the trailer for it. So I don't even know how much the trailer shows. I'm assuming the trailer gives a bit away, but there is a twist about 25 minutes into this film, and then there's a twist at the end of the film as well. So if you're into your twists, then this is the one for you. And it's a surprising film because I thought it was going to be really cheap because it's a Tubi or Tubby exclusive or Tubi original. But I was pleasantly surprised by this one. It was really good. And again, you can get Tubi for free. So there's no excuses not to watch it. I'm from the UK, so we don't get Tubi, but I've got a VPN. So I've just put my VPN to the US. Bish, bash, bosh. Log into Tubi and you get it for free. So if you're watching Jason before or after, or during or after, then thanks very much for the recommendation because it was pretty good. Coy said, did you like Smile? Yeah, I thought Smile was really good. I was talking about Smile a few minutes ago about the Smile's box office, and if memory serves me right, it was, I think it was my second favourite of 2022, Barbarian being my favourite of 2022. So yeah, Smile was excellent. I'm not too keen on a sequel to it because I know there's a Smile 2 coming out. So see how that goes. Sorry, need to mute you. Yeah, I don't like drinking without muting because this ain't no ASMR. Cynthia said, I can, is it you and Darren do the bar? Oh, I don't know what you mean, Cynthia, sorry. If you say that again, sorry. Coy said, what movie is the Tubi original? That is Lowlifes, which is that one. Believe it or not, that girl on the front cover is not Robin Tunney, but she is a spitting image of Robin Tunney from The Craft. Look at that. It just looks like Robin Tunney. But yes, it's a film called Lowlifes. If you've got Tubi, which everyone has, then definitely check it out. But don't watch the trailer for it. Again, I've not seen the trailer, but I'm told not to watch the trailer. So don't watch the trailer, watch the movie. I think you'll enjoy it. If you like horror, then you'll enjoy it. It's a kind of backwards horror, which I tend to enjoy. Frank says, who do you feel about all these kid documentaries coming out about the abuse like Nickelodeon and now a new Jackson one in the works? Oh God. I watched the first episode of the Nickelodeon one. Is it a Quiet something? Quiet on Set. I watched the first episode, but I think what made me not like it was all accusations. There was no confirmation of anything. It was just all people accusing people of things. And I'm like, okay, that's terrible. Let's see the facts now. Let's see if any of this was true. But the whole episode, I'm assuming that maybe it's different in some of the other episodes, but it just seems like it's people accusing people of things and that's it. There's nothing to back it up. There's no evidence to back it up. Again, I might be wrong. Maybe in episode 2, they reveal evidence, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever, 7 episodes. Maybe everything comes out, all this evidence. But the first episode, I was like, nah, this is not good. This is just like, it's not supposed to be good, obviously, but it just seems like people like spouting accusations. And I'm like, right, show me the evidence. Without evidence, I'm not saying I don't believe you, but I can't really take that as fact because I'm a sort of person who likes to see evidence. That's why I really liked Making a Murderer on Netflix about Stephen Avery because a lot of it had evidence for and against the arguments that they had. And I thought that was excellent. But I need to see something like that before I go, I'm invested in it. But Quiet on Set, I just lost interest in the first episode because it was just people crying about this is what happened to me, this is what happened to me, and they might be genuinely telling the truth. But if I'd seen no evidence, I don't get invested in a show like that. But if anyone else has seen it all and there is more evidence, let me know and I'll maybe continue watching it again. Was the new Omen good? I've not seen it, unfortunately. I really want to see it. I still love the TV made Omen 4 Awakening. I've not even seen the Omen 4. I've seen the first two, I believe, and I don't even remember the second one. And the first one, I'm not 100. If somebody said to me what happens in the Omen, I couldn't tell you. I know all the famous bits, but I think maybe I will watch the first Omen because it is a prequel, and then I'll watch the rest of them. So I'll watch them in chronological order of the time they were out. That might, excuse me, that might be interesting. Castler Daniel Garcia said Abigail is a mix of Livid and Dracula's Daughter. Yeah, I didn't know about Livid, but I know that it's a spin on the Dracula's Daughter tale, like a more updated version of that. David said Barbarian was my favorite of 2022. Two, lots of twos there. Yeah, fantastic film. Wasn't way ahead of Smile. I thought Smile was still excellent, but Barbarian just edged it because of how the quality of that film, the eeriness of the film, the twist in that film as well, halfway through the movie. There's a lot more going for that. Well, not a lot more, but a little bit more going for that one that made it number one for me. But Smile was still fantastic as well. Coy said the resemblance is uncanny. Yep, Robin Tunney, spitting image of that girl in that film. Castellar said, waiting for Thanksgiving too, second servings. Yeah, I mean, I loved Thanksgiving last year. Thanksgiving was, it was my second favorite horror film of last year. It was so close as well because I always thought it was going to be number one right up until I thought, do you know what? I think Talk to Me was just that little bit better. Similar to Barbarian and Smile. I think Barbarian and Smile were quite close, but Barbarian just edged it. And it's the same with Talk to Me over Thanksgiving. I think Thanksgiving's more my type of movie, but Talk to Me was the thinking person's film with an ambiguous ending. I love ambiguous endings, an ending that you can decide for yourself what happened. So I think it just edged it because it felt more of a smart film than Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was just dumb fun, and I loved it. I was so surprised. I think Thanksgiving was the most surprising horror film of last year. And yeah, David Effrey said Thanksgiving was in his top three. It was in my top two. And Kevin says, wow, she really does look like Tunney. I'm glad that other people are noticing that because I thought I was the only person. I'm like, I thought it was Robin Tunney in the poster. I'm like, oh, Robin Tunney looks really young. Is that like maybe Robin Tunney's daughter? But it's not. It's just someone who looks really, really like her. She doesn't look like her too much in the movie when she's moving around, but rest assured, that poster just looks like Robin Tunney. Happy Sanjo says, finally, a good take on the Quiet on Set documentary. Literally like drinking clean water, hearing your take on the Nickelodeon situation. And again, I only watched one episode, so that's my view from one episode. It might pick up and might have more information, more evidence. But from the first episode, I was like, nah, this is just people giving opinions. And that's not me. I like to see facts. If you don't have facts, don't make the documentary because it just makes it look one-sided, like you're trying to call them out for something that you can't prove. If you can't prove it, just wait until you've got some sort of evidence. Coy. One day I'm going to do a live stream in an American accent. For those of you who don't know, guys, this isn't my real accent. I'm not Scottish. I'm actually American. I'm just putting on a Scottish accent, trying to really get into the groove. Davy the Danger Death Ray. David Diggs said, I get asked this quite a lot now. Are you still working slash planning an Urban Legends fan film? It's still in the works. It's still an idea that I'm toying with. I've got the costume. I've got the outfit ready. I even dressed up as Brenda Bates, as weird as that sounds, for Halloween last year. And the costume is fantastic. It looks really good. But I just don't have the time to really do what I want to do with it. And that's why I'm not going to do like, I don't know, Kickstarter or Indiegogo or anything like that, because I would always fail at timescales. So I don't know how it's going to work if I'm going to be doing it. My wife, her cousin's daughter, I know that sounds like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon there, but my wife's cousin's daughter is an actress. She's in a few Netflix shows. She's wanting to be a character in this little film that we're doing as well. So it's not like it's just going to be me and my son. She wants to be in it as well. And I think a few characters would be in it. So I don't know. See how it goes. I'm still doing digital art for it as well. Like I've done a little fake trailer and I've done the badge for the university and stuff like that, all from scratch. So who knows? It might see the light of day. I tried to get it ready for the 25th anniversary. The 25th anniversary came and went. So who knows? Maybe. Cynthia said, I love Vampires with James Woods. I thought that was a good film. Again, that's another one I've not seen in years. I'm starting to sound like I've not seen any horror films. But yes, it was a film that I enjoyed slightly. But I don't know. I just never really connected with it. I wanted more from it because it's a John Carpenter movie. Frank says, she looks like someone I could take home. What, as in roadkill? David Effray's top 3 of 2023 is Godzilla -1, When Evil Lurks, and Thanksgiving. Yeah, When Evil Lurks is a really good one. But again, it's one of those ones where it was hyped to the max and I expected it not to be brilliant because of all the hype. And I watched it and it was really good. It was in my top 10, but I just didn't see it as good as people thought it was. I thought it was really good, but just not that, it's not brilliant. Unfortunately, I haven't seen Godzilla -1, but I'll hopefully be seeing that in 2 weeks' time, I believe. It's out on streaming and physical media. So in a couple of weeks, I will be seeing it. But my 2023 list has been and gone, so I can't add it to my 2024 list. That's something that I want to mention to you guys is when people do a top list, I know that some people do, we'll use 2024 as an example, top movies of 2024. What I would do in that list is put movies in it from 2024. If I seen a movie from 2023 in 2024, I wouldn't put it on the list because it's a 2023 movie. But I have seen a lot of people putting movies from different years on their list as part of their top 10s of that year. And I don't think that sits right with me. With my OCD, I'm like, it doesn't count. It can't count because it's a movie from the year before. If you didn't see it the year before, then you just have to leave it out. That's the way I see it. I don't know how you guys see that. If you guys do top 10s, like I didn't see the Iron Claw until this year, and the Iron Claw came out last year. Now, the Iron Claw is the best film I've seen this year, but I can't put it on my list because it's a 2023 movie. Therefore, it would have went on my last year's list had I done one for last year in time. But that's the way I see it. Don't know about you guys. Kevin said, is Alien being re-released in the UK this Friday? It is in the US, and I'm pretty pumped. I'm not too sure. If Darren's still here, maybe he knows, but I'm not too sure. Maga Cat's here. Barry! How you doing, Maga? David said, Barry, feel free to reach out if you need any voiceover work, that Urban Legends project. Yeah, some voiceover would be pretty good, especially for an American, because my American accent is not the best. I'm sure you can do a better American accent than me. Just to let everybody know, this isn't a dig at you, Davey, because everybody says this. It's not called Urban Legends. It's called Urban Legend. There's no S at the end. Again, that's nothing to do with you, Davey. I think everybody has said it to me. They always say, oh, have you seen Urban Legends? I'm like, nope. Nope. It's called Urban Legend. But the second one is called Urban Legends Final Cut. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, Coy said, I don't like it when they do that with lists either. Yeah, it just feels weird to put a film from a previous year, albeit you've not seen it until this year. So you can put it on your list if you want. There's no right or wrong answer. I just feel like it messes up your list. And I think in maybe 15, 20 years, if you look back and you watch that video, you go, why did I put that movie on my list when that came out the year before? And then you kind of forget that you saw it that year instead of the year before, but it messes with your mind. And yeah, like you said, it makes the list feel less structured and more just like a list of movies they saw and enjoyed, which if that's the kind of list that you're doing, then perfect. But if you're doing a best movies of that year, then officially the movie that you saw that year isn't a movie from that year. You just happen to see it later. Sup, sup, sup. Hugh Laurie has the best American accent of all time. Does he though? Maybe he does. I think James McAvoy gives a good American accent, and he obviously shows that he's really good at accents. And Split, something that Scottish people are really good at is accents. We can do any accent from any country, as long as it's English speaking. But we can do a lot of accents. I think it's because we watch TV from all over the world. Whereas I know a lot of Americans only watch American TV, whereas we watch American, Canadian, Australian, South African, English, Scottish, Irish, Welsh, all different English speaking countries' TV. We watch it in Scotland. So I think James McAvoy grew up the same as me. He only lived around the corner from me. He would have watched the same stuff I did. So that's why I think his accent is really good. David Diggs said, your Scottish accent is better than mine. Thank you. If you're talking to me. Coy said, I had no idea that guy wasn't American for years. Yeah, Hugh Laurie. Also, Tom Holland has got a good American accent. I know a lot of people thought Tom Holland was American when he was doing Spider-Man movies, but he's British. Hee hee. I get a bit loosey-goosey in the chat. AMP said, Roadkill. Baz, do you know that Mick Taylor is back this week? Wolf Creek 3 just came out. What? No, it didn't. Let me just check. Wolf Creek 3. You're lying to me. Wolf Creek 3. Bada bing, bada boom. I've not started filming it yet. Are you drinking? Are you drinking? Do you mean Wolf Creek 2? Or maybe Wolf Creek the show? Maybe? I don't know. But yeah, Wolf Creek 3 is still in production. Hopefully we do get one. Cynthia, oh, that's quite controversial, Cynthia. I would love to see a remake of Return of the Living Dead. For those of the people out there that don't like remakes, I don't think they're going to like that comment, but I wouldn't mind it. Not at all. David Effrey said, Simon Baker and Land of the Dead. That accent blows my mind. Never watched his TV show, The Mentalist, but I'm sure he killed it there too. Yeah, good American accent. I think, again, most people can do American accents because we all grew up watching American TV. So I think that's why it's quite easy for us to do an American accent, especially if you're hearing it. Like if I hear someone speaking American and they say a sentence to me, I can say it back to them identically. But if an American hears someone like a Scottish person, they'll try it and say it back to me, and it just doesn't sound it. Like when someone if an American tries to do a Scottish accent, it sounds something like this. Hello, my name is Barry, and I am Scottish. So they're trying too hard. Coy said, as someone who isn't American, can you describe what an American accent sounds like? Well, it's a good question because it's similar to if someone says to me, you sound British. And obviously, I don't sound British because I don't sound like Darren from the Slaughtered Lamb because we have completely different accents because we live in completely different countries. So yeah, hopefully you're getting that. I'm getting that point from you. Whereas a Scottish accent is different from a Welsh accent, a Northern Irish accent, an English accent. So they're all different and they're all from the UK. With the US, I know that you guys have all got different accents as well. Like someone from Texas will sound completely different to someone from California, someone from Florida. So I think states as well, they're all quite different. There are some states that just sound generically American, but there are some states that have got their own unique accent too. So if someone wants me to describe an American accent, I can't. I'd have to hear their accent first. So I would say, they're American and it sounds like they're from such and such of state. That's how I would explain it anyway. Urban legends with a little dash. Because let's face it, these days, you gotta have a sequel. I love that. It's a Scream, baby. Kevin said Simon Baker does a great American accent, particularly in Margin Call. Not seen Margin Call, that's the one with Zachary Quinto, I think. Not seen it. Coolest Adventure says, do you think the Abigail trailer gave too much of the plot away? Absolutely, it gave all of the plot away. The only thing it didn't give away is the ending of the film. And I see it like maybe 10 minutes before the end, there was something that happened that they didn't reveal in the trailer. But the thing that they didn't reveal in the trailer didn't really matter anyway to the overall arc of the story. So yes, I think it gave away way too much. Cynthia said, did you see the Thing remake? So the John Carpenter one, the remake, or do you mean the 2011 movie, the prequel? Because I think it was marketed as I think the 2011 movie was marketed as a remake, which was probably the wrong thing to do because nobody wanted a remake to the Thing, apart from me. And then when the movie came out, we found out that it wasn't a remake. It was actually a prequel to the original, or as in the remake from 1982. But if you mean the 2011 movie, I thought it was great. If you mean the 1982 movie, it's one of my favorite horror films. So yeah, I like both of them. Cynthia, I'm living in New York. Zane, have a Brooklyn accent. I love the Brooklyn accent. Can't really do one though. I'm from New York. I'm from New York. My name's Paulie. I went to college. Is that Brooklyn? Yeah, I agree. Ewan McGregor gives an awful American accent. I think the person that has the worst American accent is probably Gerard Butler. Don't know why. Like I'm saying Scottish people are really good at accents, but Ewan McGregor's not the worst. I think Gerard Butler's terrible. So is Jason Statham. I know he's not Scottish, he's English, but I think Jason Statham probably has the worst of the worst. Don't know how he can't do an American accent. Coy said, did you see the new M. Night Shyamalan trailer? I did. I done a trailer theory or a trailer breakdown / theory on what I think the twist is going to be on my channel. If you've not seen it, you can check it out. We can talk about that because it's not spoilers. It's just our thoughts on what we think might happen. So in the trailer, Josh Hartnett, it looks like he's supposed to be the butcher in this movie, but with every M. Night Shyamalan movie, there's a twist. So it could be that Josh Hartnett's not the butcher. Maybe he's got the butcher kidnapped and he's luring the police there to try and do something elsewhere. So many different theories, but I think the best theory that I heard was his daughter isn't actually alive. She's actually dead. So you notice that they don't have their mum there. The girl doesn't have her mum, so she's definitely dead. And I think the butcher has maybe killed her, or someone's killed her that's caused Josh Hartnett to become the butcher. But a good theory is that not only did she die, the daughter died as well. And Josh Hartnett can see the daughter as a dead girl. And Josh Hartnett is the adult version of the boy from The Sixth Sense. And he's still seeing dead people after all these years. So, sort of like a semi sequel to The Sixth Sense, because it does say at the start of the trailer, the world of M. Night Shyamalan. And I know that he brought Split and Unbreakable together. So, why not bring The Sixth Sense and something else together, like The Trap? So that's probably the best sounding reveal, but it's probably not going to be the case. But yeah, the trailer does make it look good for sure. I'm just going to take another drink. I'm glad you mentioned Trap because I didn't put that on my images. And I should have. Davey said, a prequel that has exactly the same plot. Haha. Man, they blew it with that one. Do you not like the Thing prequel? I understand the plot was the exact same, but it was, in their defense, it was still situated in the same location, Antarctica, and they were still dealing with the same entity as well. So, but the kills were different, and the kills were situated in a way that when you watch the original from 1982, you can see that obviously the bodies that they see in the original is the bodies that are created in the 2011 movie. So I thought it was decent. Yeah, quite. That's a good theory. It wasn't my theory; it's just one that I saw online. In fact, I said she could be dead, and then somebody said yes, and Josh Hartnett is possibly going to be the boy from The Sixth Sense, grown up, and he still sees dead people. And I'm like, whoa! I'm like, I actually put a GIF or a GIF from the movie Friday with Ice Cube, like, damn, because I thought that was a great theory. So I think we all collectively came up with that idea. Maybe it will be the case, but maybe M. Night Shyamalan has filmed 2 or 3 different twists, and whatever twist people talk about the least before it comes out, maybe that's the one he'll put into the final movie. But hopefully it's not all down to the twist. Sometimes M. Night Shyamalan movies are good before the twist, and sometimes the twist ruins it. And I don't mean ruin it, like people go into his movies wanting a twist, and if they like the film but don't like the twist, they feel like they automatically should hate the movie. And it's a shame because he has made some really good films. You blew my mind. Thank you. Well, you're welcome. I didn't not like Dexter New Blood at all, or I did not like Dexter New Blood at all. I've not seen that show, with that spin-off show. I watched the original Dexter series and I loved it. I just didn't like the ending. I'm sure a lot of people didn't like the ending of the show. And I know there's a spin-off as well. I think with the line of work that I do, watching Dexter, it just feels like I'm at work again, watching my own colleagues. And I'm like, nah, I can't do my job and then go back and watch a show that's dealing with the stuff that I do. But the original show was pretty good. And they ruined the series twice. I take it New Blood is bad? Like it's not, is it worse than the last season of Dexter? Who knows? Coolest Adventures says Michael Myers versus Jason. Who wins in a fight and why? I never really answer these ones, but I'll answer it anyway. I would say that Jason would win in a fight. And the reason being is out of all the Michael Myers movies and all the Jason movies, Jason is inhuman in all of them. He's not a human being in any of the Friday the 13th movies that he features in. Whereas Michael Myers, he is a human being in most of the Halloween entries. So he's just a human being, and he's not even got supernatural powers. He's just got a supernatural aura about him. So when you have a human being versus the undead, basically a zombie, then Jason's going to have to win all the time. So I don't think Michael and Jason are comparable. As much as we love them and we love to pit them against each other online, they're nothing alike. They're obviously slashers, two of the biggest slashers in horror movie history, but when you look at them, they're completely different to each other. You would have to compare Michael Myers to someone like Hannibal Lecter or something because they're human beings in a grounded world, whereas Jason Voorhees is more along the lines of a monster, like Jeepers Creepers or Freddy Krueger or something like that, something that has more supernatural elements to them that are not quite human. So comparing Jason to those is fine, but Michael Myers, I would keep Michael Myers as a grounded one, and he doesn't need to be compared to anybody else because he's completely different to those ones. So I hope that answers your question. So the answer is Jason because he is undead and he can't die, whereas Michael Myers can and has. Wonder if Bruce Willis will appear in a sequel to The Sixth Sense. The Seventh Sense. Oh. Cynthia asked, have you ever heard of this movie called Mindhunters with Val Kilmer? It has you guessing until the end. I have heard of that film. Let me just... I remember him being in a film like that. Let me see. Mindhunters. 2004. Yes, I do remember that. I've not seen that in years. God, that's 20 years old now. Jeez. Yeah. Christian Slater, Clifton Collins Jr., LL Cool J, Johnny Lee Miller, Cassandra Bell, and of course, Val Kilmer. Man, I've not seen that movie in years. I remember not really liking it that much. It was directed by Rennie Harlan, one of the worst directors of all time. He's awful. And I know he's directing the new Strangers trilogy. I'm assuming he's directing them all. Yeah, he is. He's directing all the new Strangers Chapter 1, 2, and 3. God help them. If they're any good, then he might be on a comeback. But my God, that guy's awful. He's almost as bad as Uwe or Uwe Boll, however you want to pronounce his name. Coy said, I don't know anyone on YouTube or my personal circles that like the way New Blood handled the ending, but there are some good things in it. So yeah, I don't even know if I want to check out Dexter New Blood because of all the negative reviews it's had. So it's probably not going to be worth my while because there's nothing screaming out I should watch it. It's more along the lines of avoid it at all costs. So I might avoid it, unfortunately. Cynthia said, that's a good question. Hold on. Barry, how would you end Halloween? If it hadn't ended already, which it obviously has, like the David Gordon Green trilogy, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I'd want to end it by killing Michael. But then, I mean, you kill Michael, you anger 50% of your fan base. However, if you don't kill Michael and kill Laurie Strode or kill the person that he's after, you anger the other half of your Halloween fan base audience. So there's not really a right answer. And I think angry people shout more than the happy people. So even though you're only angering half and the other half are happy, you're only going to hear about the anger with the 50% of the angry people. People like to moan about things online. So I don't think there's any way you can end it without hurting anyone's feelings. But if I was personally ending it, I would have ended it the same way they did with Halloween H2O. Chop his head off without knowing that that's going to happen. And then you're shocked. You're like, oh my goodness, they actually done it. And if Halloween H2O was the very last film in this entire franchise, unless there was a reboot later on, I would be happy with the original timeline because they done what they had to do. They ventured off into different things, but they brought it back full circle. Jamie Lee Curtis came back as Laurie Strode, and she finally killed Michael Myers by chopping his head off. What better way can you kill someone like Michael Myers than do it the way she did it? So there's no coming back from that, and there's no topping that either. That was the best ending. So if I had to do it all over again, I would choose the ending of Halloween H2O. I can't think of a better way. They got it spot on with Halloween H2O. That's the best way to do it. That's why Halloween H2O is one of the best. I'm sure David Effrey agrees with me. New Blood, shocking series. Deb is the new Harry. I'll just ruin the series all over again for you, Barry. Also, did Deb die? Can't remember. So Deb died. I'm assuming then she did die in the original show. Can't even remember. And she comes back as Harry. So we've got no more James Remar, I guess. It's Jennifer Carpenter that plays the ghost or Dexter's mind. I suppose it's a good way to bring her back if she's coming back to act, but it's a lazy. David Effrey said, you end it the way John ended the original, ambiguous and with the unspoken message that evil never dies. Yeah. Or if you want to kill Michael, you chop his head off. Says, what's your all-time top 10? Not just horror, but action too. Well, I'm not going to say it because I did do a video about it. If you want to check out, I've done my top 25 greatest movies of all time. That's not just horror, it's all genres put together. I uploaded that, I think it was like the beginning of April it came out. So I'll not spoil it for you. Check it out if you want. I don't ramble on in the video. So if you don't like my voice, don't worry about it. I just start the video by saying, this is my top 25. This is my opinion, blah, blah, blah. And then I show you the 25 movies that I love from number 25 to number 1. Then I come back in and say, so there you go. So check it out. It's not too long. It's about 10 minutes long. And you get to see some cool clips from some of my favorite movies of all time. So it's not just a top 10, it's a top 25. The reason I've done a top 25 was because there's certain movies that I wanted people to know that I loved. And I think a top 10 was really restricting for that. So I expanded it to 25. I think that was a good number. You either do a top 10, top 20, 25, or 50. I thought 50 would be too much because I already done a top 100 horror movies of all time a few months ago, and that took a long time to do. So I wasn't going to do a top 100 movies of all time, just narrowed it down to 25. So a little bit more than 10, but a lot less than 100. So yeah, check it out. Check it out. David said, I actually agree with you on the ending of H2O, Barry. It was such a satisfying ending at the time. That's interesting that you think that, David, because that's something that we both agree on for Halloween H2O. I know that myself and David were planning on doing some sort of video where I tell David things that I love about Halloween H2O, my positives, and maybe then David can take those positives and tell me why they're a negative. And then because David doesn't like the film as much as me, he would tell me his negatives for Halloween H2O. And I would take those negatives and I'll tell him the reasons why I think those are positives. He's not wrong. I'm not wrong. We're just giving our opinions on the film. And hopefully we can show how opinions can be taken as opinions, and that's it. Friends, family members, even people online that gives opinions. I know that when you go into social media, someone gives an opinion and they get attacked for their opinion, or they get called a something phobe because they don't like a certain movie or whatever. But I think what we want to do is we want to be able to give an opinion that's different, choose a film that we both feel differently about, and we can give our opinions like adults, and then we can bounce back with each other. We'll not be arguing, we'll just be debating. If Davey says something like, well, I don't know, Michael Myers is too small in Halloween H2, and I want him to be as big as Nick Castle, then I would say, well, in actual fact, Davey, Chris Durand, who plays Michael Myers in Halloween H2, is actually 4 inches taller than Nick Castle, who played Michael Myers in Halloween 1. So if you want Michael Myers to be as tall, if not taller, than Nick Castle, then you got what you wanted. And then he can go, okay, I'll maybe turn that negative into a positive now that I see it in a different way. And then David could do the same with me. He could say to me, or I could say to him, I love the mask in Halloween H2O, the main mask, the Stan Winston one. And he can say to me, well, the mask was rubbish because you can see his eyes. And then I would say to Davey, well, you can see his eyes because it's a Hollywood lit movie. It wasn't a $300,000 budget movie. They weren't going for the mystique of Michael Myers because we know who he is now. In the first film, we didn't know who he was. We didn't know he was related to Laurie Strode. So in this one, we don't have to be as mysterious with Michael Myers because we know who he is, and it's the first time we've seen Laurie in 20 years, and we need to see that connection in the eyes between him and Laurie, seeing each other for the first time. But if you watch them for the first time in 20 years and they lock eyes with each other, but all we see is a black eyes or like black fade, we'd be like, well. So it was imperative that we saw Michael's eyes. Anyway, that's for another video. That's just one point. I'm sure Davey's got lots of points, lots of negatives, and that's just one of my positives. So look forward to that video at some point, guys. Davey, you too. Right. So Deb died in the last episode of the original Dexter show. Only other character return was Angel Batista. So like Vince Masuka didn't return. I love Vince. Will you be seeing The Conjuring 4? Yes, I will, unfortunately. I didn't like The Conjuring 3. The Devil Made Me Do It. I loved the first one, one of my favourite horror films. Part 2 was brilliant. Not as good as the first one, but I still really liked it. And I think Part 3 was just a massive drop-off. So hopefully they pick it back up with The Conjuring 4. I still want them to do the Smurl hunting. Going to get another drink. I'm talking too much. Hold on. So yeah, The Conjuring 4, if they do it about the Smurl family, I don't know if anyone knows about the Smurl haunting. There was a TV movie made in 1991 called The Haunted, a true story. And it's about the Warrens go to the Smurl house, and the Smurl family, Jack and Janet Smurl, they're haunted by these ghosts for years and years. And the Warrens come to try and take the ghosts out, etc. It doesn't work, and all bad things kind of happen. That movie freaked me out like something awful. It starred Sally Kirkland, I think it was, and Jeffrey DeMunn, who's a fantastic actor. So two big stars were in this TV movie, and they're still acting today. Obviously, Jeffrey DeMunn is the bigger one. He was in The Walking Dead, The Green Mile, The Shawshank Redemption, and loads of other things. So if you haven't seen that, check that out. But I'd love it if The Conjuring 4 was that story so we can see it on the big screen rather than just seeing the old cheap TV movie. David Effrey says, Barry doesn't even need me for this show. Yeah, the Halloween H201. I've just got a funny feeling I know what your negatives are going to be, Davey. I don't officially know. I just got a funny feeling that I think I might know. And I've got the positives ready for all those negatives. Just you wait. Amp said, have you seen Wolf Creek season 1 and 2? John Jarrett is great as Mick Taylor. Well, it's funny you should say that. Myself and Chris Stanley from Cosplay Chris, we done a video last week there about the best of Australian horror. And we were talking about Wolf Creek. We've seen Wolf Creek, we've seen Wolf Creek 2, but none of us have seen the TV show, season 1 and season 2. So I'm looking forward to seeing it because I've heard good things. Got a good score on IMDb for a horror TV show. So I've still not seen it yet. I'll need to check it out. Obviously, John Jarrett's in it as well. If he wasn't in it, I definitely wouldn't see it. But I think it's something that could pass the time for definite. So I will watch it. This Mike is a pipe bomb said, I got Wolf Creek mixed up with Cry Wolf. Both two films I own, but still yet to watch. I've yet to watch Cry Wolf as well. I've got the Blu-ray and I've still got it sealed. That's the one with Lindy Booth, I think. I'm sure it is. Lindy Booth from Kick-Ass 2, Dawn of the Dead remake, and Wrong Turn from 2003. Coolest Adventures asked, do you think Halloween Ends is worse than Halloween Resurrection? Are you new to the channel, Coolest Adventures? By that kind of question, I'm sure you are. No, I don't think Halloween Ends is anywhere near as bad as Halloween Resurrection. Halloween Resurrection is one of the worst films in the Halloween franchise. It's probably at the bottom, if not the bottom, maybe second bottom of my list. Whereas Halloween Ends is my fourth favorite at the moment. It always changes, but Halloween Ends is round about my fourth favorite in the Halloween franchise. Don't listen to all the haters online. I know that it's still a fairly new movie, so some people are like, oh, hate it because it doesn't have Michael Myers in it. And I'm like, well, it does. Michael Myers is in Halloween Ends more than he is in the original Halloween and a few of the others in the franchise. Also, it's one of the most deep stories that you'll ever get in a Halloween film. There's so many positives to Halloween Ends that I could probably do another video on the positives of Halloween Ends. But yeah, it's round about my fourth favorite because it's just a great film. And I liked it from the beginning. I don't just like, I'm not gradually starting to like it like people are doing with Season of the Witch. I genuinely liked it from the beginning. Great film. This Mike is a pipe bomb said The Haunted freaked me out as a kid. I'm glad somebody's seen that film because that freaked me out as a kid as well. I couldn't sleep for weeks when I watched that movie. And when I watched it, it was on TV. So we had to wait for it to come back on again, like probably a year later. So within that year, I would tell my friends and my family about this film called The Haunted that I watched. And it was crazy. And I'd tell them all the incidents that happen in the film, trying to recreate it to show them what they're missing out on. So they need to see it when it comes out. But yeah, it's a really freaky one. Well, it was anyway. David says, I think I just may surprise you, Barry, just like I did with my top 10 zombie movies. I don't know, David. I think generically, when I ask someone why they don't like Halloween H2O, I've yet to hear anyone say anything different than the maybe 4 or 5 things that I get told all the time. I'll say these things to you just now. You don't have to tell me if this is some of your negatives, but I hear it's just like Dawson's Creek. And I'm like, no, it's not. And I've got reasons. I hear that the mask is terrible, so that's why you don't like the movie. I'm like, that's not a reason not to like the movie. Have you seen any other Halloween film with terrible masks? They say it's a CGI mask that they use. I'm like, no, it's not. That's just in one scene. Again, I won't go through them all, like why it's positives. What else? It's not set in Haddonfield. Well, of course it's not set in Haddonfield. Why would it be? But again, we'll go into that. What else? The score for the film. They don't like the score. It's just like a Scream knockoff. They're trying to ride on the coattails of Scream. Absolutely. Why wouldn't you? But again, that's for another video. So yeah, all the negatives that I hear are just all the usual ones. So I'm looking forward to hearing your negatives, Davey. Maybe you've got a little one up your sleeve that nobody's mentioned before that I'll agree with. You never know. Because it's not a perfect film. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's damn near. Warrior said, back on my phone because I'm in bed. I'm going to bed soon. Not long left. Just getting through some of the chats. And I think I've covered all the topics. No, I haven't covered all the topics. I've not covered Deadpool and Wolverine. I know that this is mainly horror. But let's talk about that just now. And then we'll go back into the chat soon. But let me just get rid of your comment, Warrior. No offense. Boom. So yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine. What do you guys make of the trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine? Now I know that the MCU is practically gone now, and I stopped caring about the MCU after Endgame. I thought No Way Home was pretty good, which is kind of part of the MCU. But at the end of the day, I think the rest of the films that have come out recently have just been piles of crap. So I'm looking forward to Deadpool and Wolverine because I loved Wolverine. I love Hugh Jackman and I love Deadpool. I don't love Deadpool. I don't know why I said that. I think Ryan Reynolds can be annoying, and it now feels like Deadpool is Ryan Reynolds now, and it's not the other way around. So it can be annoying, but the trailer, it was a perfect trailer because it didn't give anything away. Yes, it gave you some Easter eggs that people are trying to theorize online, which is natural, but it didn't really give anything away as to what the plot is going to definitely be about. We've got some ideas and some rumors on it, but I just don't know anything about it, even after seeing this trailer. Let me just click off that. So yeah, I think when it comes to comic book films, I'm kind of done with comic book movies, to be honest. But I just thought I'd give you my quick thoughts because I didn't do a trailer reaction to it. I didn't do a video on it or anything because it's not really horror related. But it's one of the ones it's one of the trailers that I've seen recently that's got something to do with superheroes. I thought, you know what, that looks pretty good, and it made me laugh. When I see humor today in films, I just don't laugh because it's never funny. Um, if you notice in any comedy you see today featuring teenagers, if they say, "Wait, what?" or "Are you serious right now?" that's supposed to be funny to them. So they want the audience to laugh when they say, "Wait, what? Wait, what?" or "Are you serious right now?" That's all they ever say. And we're supposed to laugh at that. And I'm like, what? That's not funny at all. So I don't tend to laugh anymore, unfortunately, um, when I watch a comedy. But I genuinely laughed at the end of that trailer when the old blind lady is talking to Deadpool, and he's like, Kevin Feige said, "Can't cocaine is off limits," and they're giving all their different names to cocaine. He's just like, "Do you want to build a snowman?" And he's like, "Yes, but I can't." So yeah, the trailer done what it needed to do for me. I thought it was decent. Let's see the chat. Sarah said, "Is Harry Styles in Smile 2?" God, I don't know. Is he still acting? I know that he was in that film with the Olivia Wilde movie. Harry Styles. He was actually decent in Dunkirk. I couldn't imagine him being in Smile 2. Well, it's not on IMDb as being in Smile 2, but it doesn't mean he's not. He's not even in anything coming up. There's a film called Faster, Cheaper, Better, but it's in development. So I got a tickle in my throat. It's in development, Faster, Cheaper, Better, but he's not even credited for anything Marvel related, because obviously he played the Eros in Eternals, but he's not scheduled for anything after that. Daryl said, "Hello." David Effrey said, the closest one you've got is The Mask, but it's not so simple. Most of my gripes have to do with the characters and tone. Don't want to spoil it though. Looking forward to it, Davey. I'm ready. I'll bring my gloves. Warrior said, "What do you think of T2 Train Spotting, Barry?" I have not seen it. Not seen it at all. I loved Train Spotting when I was younger, the first one, but I haven't pulled the trigger on T2. For some reason, I just don't feel like it's going to hold up. And I heard it's okay. It's not a bad film, but I don't know. I just don't think they should have done a sequel to that. They just didn't need a sequel, to be honest. Cynthia J said, "The old Salem's Lot got me. The kid at the window." That reminds me, Cynthia, the news was a few months ago, I think now, that Salem's Lot, the I guess it's a remake or a readaptation of Stephen King's novel, is coming to Max, HBO Max. It was supposed to come out in the cinemas last September, but they scrapped it and they shelved the film. The full film was finished and they shelved it. Didn't even show us a trailer. And it was just left there for possibly a year until they decided they're not going to delete it like they have done with previous films like Batgirl. So it's no longer shelved. It's now officially coming to Max this year. I think it might be September, I think. Let's double check that. I know you're talking about the original, but it just reminded me of the new one. Salem's Lot. There's still no official release date. However, it's directed by Gary Doberman. I mean, that's a big name. And it's got Spencer Treat Clark, which is a big name now. Lewis Pullman's in it. He's a good actor. Who else is in it? Mackenzie Lee. I only know 2 actors in it. Yep. So I know Spencer Treat Clark and Lewis Pullman. Everybody else looks familiar. Oh, Alfre Woodard is in it as well. She's a great actress. So yeah. So we've not seen any trailers for it yet. I don't even think we've seen any images. I think we've seen some fake art of it or like computer graphic art, but no official images or trailers or anything. So looking forward to that one. I've always been looking forward to that one until it was scrapped and then brought back and scrapped and brought back. So, yeah, Salem's lot. Coolest Avenger says, who's your favourite Spider-Man out of the three? Because of my age, I'm going to have to say, do you know what? I like all three differently. I like Tobey Maguire most for nostalgic purposes because I grew up with the Tobey Maguire movies. However, the best actor by a country mile is Andrew Garfield in The Amazing Spider-Man. However, I feel like I have more fun with Tom Holland's because he seems more like a young Spider-Man. He's like the youngest actor to ever play Spider-Man in the feature movies. I think Tobey Maguire was 27 when he played Spider-Man, and then Andrew Garfield was, I think he was 29 when he played Spider-Man, and obviously uh, Tom Holland was 20 when he started playing Spider-Man. God, I've got a tickly throat. Apologies. I'll go for another 10, 15 minutes or so, guys. Jean said, Salem's Lot scared me. That jail scene got me. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewatch Salem's Lot again. It's another film I haven't seen in 25 years or so. So maybe in the lead up to the remake that comes out, I'll do a little review for the original. Kiki Iza said, I really want Sarah Michelle back, and I Know What You Did Last Summer 3. Probably not going to happen, unfortunately, because she died. But maybe she'll be involved in some capacity. Warrior said, I'm going to watch your all-time horrors, but is Misery in the top 10? Absolutely not. It's not in the top 10. It might be in the top 100, though. Kevin said, the old Buffy movie had a great parody of that window scene. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. I loved the Buffy movie, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, with Christy Swanson, David Arquette. What'd you call him? Oh, I forgot his name. The one that died, unfortunately, from Beverly Hills 90210. Luke Perry. And I had obviously Pee Wee Herman, the guy who plays Pee Wee Herman, Paul Rubens, and obviously Donald Sutherland as well. Yeah, Paul Rubens was so funny in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. See that bit where he's like, I think it was actually the end credits where his arm was cut off, and he's like, "Oh, ah, yeah, oh, ah, oh, ah." It's funny. Kevin said, I'm glad I'm not the only one that thought Garfield did a good job as Spidey. I thought everybody thought he was a good Spider-Man. I think he had the least favourite Spider-Man movies, but I think a lot of people, if not everyone, agrees that he was a great Spider-Man. Obviously the best acted Spider-Man anyway. Cynthia J said, is Blade really coming out? Probably not, to be honest. And I think if Blade does come out, I don't think Mahershala Ali will be playing Blade. I think Mahershala Ali's 50 now, 50 this year. And he was announced as Blade when he was like 46. So I think if he played Blade at age 47, 48 maximum, it would have been fine. But you're wanting, unless they only want a one and done, if it's a one Blade movie and they're finished with it, then I think he'll be fine. But if it's successful, I think they will want a few Blade movies. So I don't think a 50-year-old is the right fit to play Blade for 2-3 movies. But if it's one movie, he's absolutely fine. And he's 50 this year. By the time the movie comes out, he might be 52, 53. You never know. So great choice at the beginning, but now I don't know. He's just getting along now. Warrior said Sarah Michelle Gellar has signed for I Know What You Did That Summer, but it's a direct sequel with the killer Amanda. I don't get it. I'm sorry. I don't get it. But it's funny. Blade versus Leprechaun. Yeah, but at this point, they might need to do that because Blade's probably not going to come out himself at this moment in time, which is a shame. Sarah Michelle Gellar has signed Barry Google it. Signed for what? What's she signed up for? I know what you did that summer, but it's the killer. Amanda. I don't get it. I'm sorry. It's a good question. Who would you like to play Blade? Well, I think the obvious choice that everybody would say at this moment, is maybe Michael B. Jordan, because he's young enough. He's like 37 or something. So I'm going to be obvious here and say Michael B. Jordan. I think he'd be a really good Blade. He's got the build for it now. He's filled himself out, and I think he would be a really good Blade. Kevin said, agreed. I actually think an origin story with a young Blade would be their best bet. Yeah, I mean, you could even go younger. You know, I'm saying Michael B. Jordan, who's 37. You could get someone who's like a late teenager, early 20s, that could possibly play Blade for a while, unless you get Michael B. Jordan to play Blade. But then if you want to do a backstory through that movie, you can get someone younger, an actor who's younger, to play a young Blade. So you can do all sorts of things. But I just think it's possibly now the wrong way to go with Mahershala Ali, because he's just getting so old now, unfortunately. David said, go with a young unknown for Blade. Bring the star power with the villain and another side character. Yeah, you could do that as well. I think what worked though with Blade, the original Blade, was they brought in a star in Wesley Snipes. So I don't know. It can work. If you bring in a star, it can work. I just think I'd be scared in case they bring in an unknown for Blade and then they bring in a star for the villain, and we're so invested in the villain rather than Blade. And the title of the movie is Blade. You know, we don't want to have like Deacon Frost or Quinn being played by some sort of huge Hollywood actor and then getting Mr. Joe Bloggs to play Blade. We'd be like, we don't want to see Blade. We want to see Frost. We want to see Quinn or whoever else, Dracula. Kiki Iza said, James McAvoy is the only reason I want to see the Speak No Evil remake. It's the same with me. I've not seen the original, so I can't really complain. But James and myself used to work in the same supermarket. I was in produce, he was in bakery. It's a story I will always tell. So me and James go back. We're like this. We're tight. So I'll see anything that James McAvoy's in, because we have to support each other. He supports me. I support him. Screenlight said, hey, Barry, heard anything new about the Lost Boys remake that was announced a few years back? Nope. I think it was announced as a movie. Then they re-announced it as a TV series. And then they re-announced it again as a streaming movie with female Lost Boys. I don't know if they would still call it Lost Boys or Lost Girls. But the last I heard was it was going to be a female remake called The Lost Boys. Don't know how that would work, but that was the last I heard. But I don't think anything's happening now. Let me just check. The Lost Boys. No, I think the project's dead in the water. Yeah, there's literally nothing. Nothing at all, guys. It's maybe one that I'm not saying they should leave it, but if they didn't do anything, I don't think anyone would care. Vanderhoff's back. I'm back. Had to have dinner with my wife. Welcome back. I'm only going to be another 5 minutes or so, guys, though. So apologies for that. Warrior said, yeah, the killer was Ben's son. And I know what he did last summer too. Or I still know what he did last summer. Yeah, but what do you mean with Sarah Michelle Gellar? I've lost the joke. Amanda. Sarah Michelle Gellar has signed. Google it. Amanda. So it sounds like you're joking, and then it sounds like you're being serious. I don't actually. Let me just Google it. Sarah Michelle Gellar. I know what you did last summer. 3. News. No. She stuns in a bright orange swimsuit. Okay. I'll click that later. No, I don't see any possible returning cast. Not her. Am I Googling this for nothing? No, I don't see any news on Sarah Michelle Gellar returning. I would only imagine that it would be Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt that would return. If anybody returns, that is. I'd like to see Matthew Settle return as Will Benson. Hopefully he didn't die. Maybe he did. Maybe he's just out cold and he's going to wake back up at some point and wreak havoc again as Will Benson. Don't you get it? Will Benson? Ben's son. Oh, hey, Dad. Love that scene. Whew. Vanderhoff said, have you seen the 1984 so bad it's good slasher movie Splatter University? No, but I've got it. Just heard something there. No, I haven't seen that, but I've got it on Blu-ray and it's still sealed. I've got a lot of sealed Blu-rays that I've not watched. Just either got around to it or watched it on TV or streaming and thought there's no need for me to unwrap the Blu-ray. But I'll get around to that eventually, that one. Who do you think's the better final girl, Laurie Strode or Sidney Prescott? I'm going to say Sidney Prescott because she's had a coherent storyline from Scream 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, whereas Laurie Strode's timeline has skewed and played by different actresses and different timelines, with Jamie Lee Curtis coming back numerous times. So I think her status as a final girl is scattered, whereas Neve Campbell's Sidney Prescott is more coherent. So I'm going to go with Sidney Prescott. That's a great American accent. Thanks very much. Spot on imitation there, Barry. Yeah, I told you guys, I'm great at American accents. You ask me what to say, I'll say it in American. Or you want me to tell you a line in a movie, I'll do it in the best accent that I can. And if I butcher it, I'm really sorry. Right. We're coming up to 2 hours now, guys. So I think it might be time for me to wrap this up. I use StreamYard to record this. And I know that if I record more than 2 hours, then I can't do the little mini segments that I want to do. For some reason, StreamYard only allows you to do between 30 minutes and that 2 hours for doing little cuts and stuff like that, which is annoying. Oh, here we go. Warrior said, Killer in I Know What You Did Last Summer was Ben Willis, yeah. And part 2 was Will Benson, yeah. And he said that they would have realized Amanda was from Scary. Oh, right, okay, Scary Movie, right, okay. I get you now. Lead with that the next time. Bandov said, I will listen to the part I missed tomorrow at work. Yeah, please do it. Anyone who's missed any of it, if you're interested, then listen back. Just talking nonsense, to be honest. But if you like the nonsense, then definitely. Gene said, hello, Barry. What's your favorite scary movie? My favorite scary movie is Halloween, of course. Unless you're asking me to say, what's your favorite scary movie? David said, soccer. You want a game of soccer? Jennifer Love Hewitt. I got her mixed up with Sarah. Ah, okay, that'll be why then. I was confused. So yeah, Jennifer Love Hewitt has not signed on for I Know What You Did Last Summer 3, but there are rumors that she will sign on, and I think she will do it. She done an interview with Michael Rosenbaum on Inside of You, and they were talking about I Know What You Did Last Summer, and she did mention that she would do it. So if they do come to her, or if they have already, I'm sure she'll say yes. Vanderhoff says, can you say in an American accent, the Halloween 3 Tom Adkins, this place is a zoo? I can't remember how he says it. I can't remember the line. So I can't really do it. I would really be bad at it. This place is a zoo. Nah, I can't do it. I'd have to hear it. Hello, Sydney. I actually scared myself there. Anyway, guys, we're coming up to 2 hours now. So thanks a lot again for coming to the live stream. I'm hopefully going to try and build this up again. At this moment in time, it's going to be every Wednesday night around about 11 p.m. my time. Obviously, whatever time it was for you when I started, it'll be round about the same time every Wednesday until my shift changes again. If I have to go to work on a Thursday, I'll change it up and stuff. But at this moment in time, Wednesday night for me is where I'll be. And if you're interested, then please come back every week. Hopefully tell your friends. Leave the like button if you can, because it helps the channel. It helps people notice the live streams, and hopefully more people will come and interact with not just myself, but with you guys as well. So again, it was a lot of fun. Had a great time just chatting about anything. See, as long as I've got some points to talk about, then I can keep the chat going. So if nobody talks, I'll keep it going. But with you guys here, I don't really have to do that too much, because you've always got something to ask, and I've always got an answer for you as well, which is good. So it keeps the chat running smoothly as well. So I'm going to cut it short here now, guys. So thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for everyone who was in the chat. Again, if you've just joined and you want to know what was happening, then please watch it back if you can. Again, that helps the channel as well. But tell your friends about me. So anyway, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Let me just say bye-bye in a second. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.